Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel and this is episode 3 of Minispooktober. I'm going to cover a range of prompts in this video, also tracking back a little bit to be caught up again with where I left off. So in the last video I did not cover prompt 11 and prompt 12. So 11 is hair, which I will get to in a bit. 12 is letter, and instead of making postal letters for this diorama, I am going to use these wooden letters. And what I want to make on the floor of the diorama is a path that goes from, well, about the side of the diorama to the middle of the book. In order to make this cobblestone woodland kind of path, I've got these cobblestone chipboard die cuts, which come from this template, Cobblestone Small by the Dusty Attic, which is an Australian company. I'm sure you can get them in other countries somehow as well, because I'm pretty sure the Dusty Attic delivers to other countries around the world. Anyway, I want to glue this on here. Well, eventually, I will not do that today. And then make a path out of the cobblestones and letters. I think I want to spell Wonderland in the path, so let's see what I can come up with. So I've marked out with pencil where the book will sit, so I can take that off the board. And now I'm going to try and attempt to make this work. Okay, I think I am liking this layout, so I'm just going to glue that down with some wood glue. I have textured the chipboard and then went over it with an acrylic paint. Very simple, just plain black acrylic paint, nothing fancy. So what I want to do now is, I think I want to paint the cobblestone in a gray, and then obviously I want to mottle it a little bit with browns and greens as well. So I think I'm just gonna go over with this slate gray and with a dry brushing brush, and then get all the texture out. And then I'll do the grouting of all the tiles. So this looks like a good used brush that I can use for that. And then this brush is dry. What I'll then do is I ever so slightly tap the brush in the paint and dab off the excess as much as I can to start with. And then I go over the surface. And it's just basically a see how you go kind of thing on how the dry brushing works for you. I don't know how much pressure you use. It might be different from mine, so and this is slowly drying, and you see that it goes slightly darker, so you can just go over it again if you want to emphasize those bricks a bit more. This is what we have so far, and I'll just continue doing that until all the cobblestone is covered. As you can see, I've done all the cobblestone now, and I'm going to add some details with mud puddle, which is just a brown, olive green, grass green, and sage. On the side here, I've got the brown and all the greens, so I'm just gonna, you know, pick them up as I go, very randomly. Mainly along the edges of the stones. And I think this is looking really good so far, so I'm just gonna continue that, and when I'm done we can put the grout, or the the grout in between the cobblestones. Okay, I have my water and PVA glue mixture here, and I have some tea that I emptied tea bags that I've used, and this is just plain black tea, and if you look at it, it actually looks like soil, and it's dried and then dried in the oven as well, and this is what we're left with. This actually needs to be watered down a little bit more, so I'm gonna take some glue out and put some more water in, and then I can sprinkle this on top so it sinks in all the nooks and crannies and crevices, and then I can put this on top and it will seal it all in. All right, so got the sand, or not the sand, the tea ready. Sprinkle that over. So far I like how this is looking. It's very organic looking. Let's hope that in the end it will still look as organic. Let's start at the top. It kind of doesn't want to do it. Can you see that? What if I spray this very ever so slightly first, and then go in with the glue? That works much better. Can you see that? It just absorbs right away. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is try not to get any of that on the bricks. I've never done this before and it's working really well. So just slightly spray your work surface a little bit, and then go in with the glue, and it will just absorb straight in. All right, I think this looks really good, and what I'm gonna do now is just going to leave it to dry outside. I live in Australia, so it's pretty sunny today, and I'll see you all back, for you a couple of seconds, for me a bit longer, when it's all dry. So with wood glue, I've attached the pebbles on the side of the path, and I think that kind of seals it in a lot better. For the next prompt, let's create the Vorpal blade. Well, it says Vorpal. Just gonna roll out a piece of clay. It's just polymer clay on a glass plate. I'm just going to carve out that Vorpal blade. There we go, the somewhat Vorpal blade. I think it looks alright. It will look better with paint, obviously. So let's bake it. The Vorpal blade is now all ready to be painted, so let's go ahead and start with the color Smoke, which is a very dark brown to get into all the recesses, and then go over with plate mail metal, so a silver, to make the blade silver, and I think this part, the recesses are silver, but we'll get to that in a moment. I think I might just do that with a wood grain brown, so it's like a wooden handle. There's the brown, 2 layers, and now let's try the plate mill metal, which is just a silver. I might just go over the Vorpal blade with a bit of the brown and wipe it off like that. So bring out a few more of those details. Now, it wouldn't be a Halloween diorama if there wasn't any blood. So we have some coagulated blood. And I'm thinking just having this Vorpal blade lying on the table. And some, of course, on the blade itself. Here we go. And that will be in the diorama. So for this video, I was actually going to make the hair, but I'm going to leave that for the last video in the series. So this is going to be prompt number 19, which is rabbit. So I'm going to make little rabbit hind legs that are going down a rabbit hole. So we first need his back body. That looks about right. Then we need a little cotton tail. That looks about right. So you need to make a little ball and then a cone shape. And that's his foot. And that is his hip. So there we go, 2 hind legs, and then I'll just slice off a little bit there. And I'll do the same with this one. Slice off a little bit on the inside, so that can be sitting against the body. Looks a little bit like a chicken right now, but we'll get there. Needs little toe beans, obviously. Does a rabbit have 3 or 4 toe beans? I have no idea. I need to look that up. 4. There we go, little toe beans. So this is basically our bunny done, or looks a bit like a pale chicken. I'm just gonna texture him now. Of course, the bunny needs to be painted now it's all baked. I'm going to start with an undercoat of gray, and then we'll dry brush white over the top. So here's my little bunny butt that disappears into the ground and will be incorporated into the diorama. Hello, voiceover me here. Apparently I did not do a live commentary on all the bits that I made, so here I am creating cookies. From a snake of clay I'm slicing off equal parts that will be made into cookies. I am pressing down the little circles onto a glass plate and then will texture them with a toothbrush-like tool. I will then add even more texture with a dotting tool. From a previous project, I think that it was even Minispooktober or Birdtober last year, I had some chocolate left over. This is polymer clay chocolate, which I will cut up into even smaller pieces to sprinkle it over the cookies so you have chocolate chip cookies.
Then to make the cookies look baked, I'm going around the edges with some chalk pastels.
So for the milk jug and the sugar bowl, I've got two equally sized bowls. First, I want to try and create the milk jug, which I think can be a little bit higher than the sugar bowl. Just adding that handle. There we have a little milk jug. And for the sugar bowl, it's fairly easy. It's just a little bowl and a flattened lid on top. And a little handle for the sugar bowl. And now what I still can do is add two handles to it as well. Milk jug and sugar bowl. Let's paint these up. I know they're already white, but there are still some imperfections and I just want to paint them entirely white, the same color as the other stuff. So let's do that. I've got some matte white here and then some blue to make the decorations. Prompt 16 is caterpillar, and I've made this shape out of tin foil, which is basically the base of the caterpillar going up, and that's where his face will be. I'm also hoping to make his hookah. This is the base where I will be building my clay upon. And as always, I'm going to put some painter's tape around it, just so the clay has something to stick to. I think that looks all right. Let's cover it with clay, because that stays flexible and this stuff does not, but it does work together, so. I've made the base for the caterpillar, but now it obviously needs its shape. I'm going to carve in where I want all the blobs on his back to be, and then I'm going to probably bake that and then work on the feet. So I think there should be one there. They do end, so they kind of curve around like that. It's a bit weird how that works, and I need to bulk that out a lot more. I'm rolling out these little snakes of clay and then I'm attaching them to these parts, so they're just that ever so bit higher. See, that is a little bit higher than the other ones. That's how I want all of them to be, so I'm just gonna go ahead with that, and after that I'm probably gonna bake it for the first time. Alright, so I've bulked out his back and I made these extra spores, I don't know what they're called, something like that, on the sides, and then his legs will be underneath. So his eyes will sit somewhere here. It's a bit hard to determine. Somewhere there. Carve out his face a little bit, and then his nose protrudes a little bit. His mouth goes down again, and then he has a little chin. So he also has a forehead. Let's make his forehead there. Let's make his nose. There. There. So let's blend that in. I think I'm just gonna put tiny balls of clay for his eyes. I have some pre-baked black balls of clay, so I'm just gonna use some of those. Oh no, they would be perfect. This is nostrils, and they go up a little bit on the side. I think I'm gonna bake him now, so I don't ruin him. Alright, I've put the wires inside. Now I'm just gonna slightly bend it and make that little curl that's at the end. And then I'm not gonna put it on his head, I'm just gonna bake it like that. Same for this one, gonna make that bend. So bending the wire, I'm just gonna curl this end around because there's no wire in the end of that. Before I'm gonna bake that, I'm going to attach his feet. And his feet consist of two blobs, a big blob and a small blob. Big blob, blob, small blob. I'm going to take my liquid Sculpey brush and just slightly, ever so slightly, brush on some liquid Sculpey. It doesn't have to be a lot. A little goes a long way. I'm going to put the big blob on. Like so. Blending that in. And I basically want to do the same thing on the other side. Taking a small blob of the big blob and smooth that out. This gray clay is the Cos clay, so this is more flexible because they're his feet that are sticking out. So, and I'm gonna roll this out and taper it, and then push it in because that's his little claws. Let's sit like that. Same for the other one. Push that in. And that's roughly what his feet look like. Now it looks a bit off because it's different colors and all that stuff. Now that Absalom is all put together, I'm going to paint him. And we're going to start with a light blue because he is overall light blue, and then I will add in the details after that. I'm now gonna give the caterpillar a light wash of dark blue just to fill in all those deeper areas. So I've darkened his antennae a little bit and let it fade out into the light blue. And now there's a little detail on his antennae, which is just a little yellow stripe at the very end here. Now that they are done, I'm going to move on to the stripes on his body, which are pretty random. And they're not straight, so it doesn't matter if they're a little bit wobbly. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna continue doing that for his whole body, and then I'll be back to do the yellow dots on the side. The dots on the sides are like light blue, then the darker blue, and then yellow. I've got all the light dots, now I need to do the darker dots.
There we go, there is the monocle. Okay, now just for the finishing touch, we need to attach that monocle to his face. A little touch of super glue. There we go. Now I've also made him a hookah, and I'm not showing you how I did it, but it is very easy. There is a skewer and some bead caps and beads, and I've attached them with super glue. Then this is a piece of skewer as well. This is one of those shoo-doo kids craft things, and another piece of skewer. And now I just need to make it all the same color and then make it bronze. First up, I'm going to cover this thing completely in brush on primer. Now gonna paint the entire thing bronze and then age it up with a dark wash.
And this is it for the third week of Minispooktober. I am going to add another week to this series, so there will be another 2 videos after this one for Minispooktober, finishing the entire diorama the first weekend of November. I don't want to rush this project and I simply need more time. Please check out my other social media in the description box below, and if you're new here, welcome! Don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and of course become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!